Yeah, what up? It's me, aka Gandanga. This is a podcast hosted by two Broke Twimbos. It's your boy Metaphysics. We in here. Brah.
We broke, we ain't got it. Broke, fat broke, we ain't got it. Don't spend no money, ain't got no clothes, ain't got no cars, ain't got no hoes. We broke. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now listening. 1, 2, broke. We broke.
Yo, check it out. My name is Danny, that guy, aka Genius, aka the only guy, aka your girlfriend probably pities me, aka Dan Moore. When you look at my body weight, Dan less. And this is Two Broke Twimbos.
That's right, and you're here with Phil, aka Phil Chad, aka Flame Flossy, the big boss, baby, aka Vita P. More about that later.
Yes. Anyway, it's time for a brand new episode of the Two Broke Twimbos podcast. And today we have a hip-hop legend who we're going to be interviewing. So a bit more on that later. But if you guys have been following, you would have checked out that last week we had Carl Joshua Ngube, Zimbabwe's biggest stand-up comedian, as our podcast interviewee. And we just been thinking about that interview. I mean, I hope you guys got a chance to listen to it. We spoke about how Carl was going to be performing at the Soweto International Comedy Festival, which he did this past weekend. And apparently, one or two people laughed. I heard someone smiled.
No reports of tomatoes as yet, but we can only hope and pray.
Reppin' Zim there with no tomatoes. Shout out to Carl Joshua Ngube.
Yeah. And shout out to all of you that won the Comedy Thursday competition that got to attend. Gin and tonic, we really don't like the way you're gloating. Please shut up.
Yes. Free things are nice only when you're the one getting them. We don't appreciate rubbing it in our faces.
Indeed. So anyway, keep it locked to Two Broke Twimbos. We will be having more competitions in the future, more giveaways, and we promise that there will be stuff besides Dan's throwaways. So the lucky winner of his pata-patas, please claim your prize.
What's left of them. Right, now what we're going to be talking about is Metaphysics. Now, Metaphysics is a hip-hop legend in Zimbabwe, and he's been around for a while. He's accomplished a lot, so he breaks it down for us and lets us know what he's managed to do. Some of the stuff we didn't even know ourselves, even though we managed to find enough bundles to Google him real quick. So look out for him telling us a little bit about what he's done, who he's worked with, some of the music that he's put out, the current projects he's working on, the state of Zim hip-hop. Now, this was a very touchy issue. If you were listening 2 weeks ago, we had Tate, the MC, and Take Fizzo in the studio.
It got heated.
It got pretty heated over certain comments that were made by Metaphysics about the state of Zim hip-hop. And Tate, the MC, and Take Fizzo had some very choice words for Metaphysics.
King Googie too. He had some stuff. Yeah.
King Googie he was pretty vocal. Check him out.
I spoke to Metaphysics, one of the pioneers of Zim hip-hop.
Yeah.
And he says, my sound when I started doing hip-hop was very much like American hip-hop. And as I'm listening now, I like so much that Zimbabwe is developing its own sound. But he went on to say it hasn't yet reached that level where it can be a purely Zimbabwean sound. So far, it's just American hip-hop that's maybe done in Shona.
He lies.
And maybe
He lies.
Let me finish.
Yeah,
man.
I'm just saying he lies. Go on.
And maybe uses some local instrumentation, which gives it a Zimbabwean flavor, but it does not yet have its own standalone.
So what does he want us to do? To start
So
creating our own crazy patterns.
Are we gonna wake up
with Rome though?
Guys, whoa.
So I don't know what no disrespect to the gods.
You know what?
No disrespect to the gods,
isn't it
but
a beat
I don't know what he's
aspect,
talking
though?
about.
Coming from you,
Even the
Fizzo.
beats.
I like-
Even the beats.
In response to your question, Dan, I just want you to go back to Metaphysics and ask him what he has been doing all these years
For a Zimbabwean sound.
for the Zimbabwean sound. You know what I'm saying? Apana. These legends, you see,
He's a god. He's a legend.
But what has he been doing?
Yeah, there we go. Shots were fired. It's quite ironic that Tate the MC and Take Fizzo came together to start a pseudo beef with another rapper. All thanks to Dan.
Nothing brings people together like poverty. Shout out to Two Broke Twimbos. Now check it out. If you want to hear the actual interview that started this controversy, we got an exclusive interview with the man himself, Metaphysics, right here on Two Broke Twimbos.
Look out for that. But before we continue, I just have one gripe from last week's episode. I know you guys noticed that I wasn't able to attend it, but Carl and his wife threw some shots at Zim Dancehall. And I wasn't too impressed by that. I wasn't too happy about that because, as you know, Dan, I am an adamant Zim Dancehall supporter. Hear me now. And I am a big lover of Jafakins. You know this too.
Jafakins?
Yes, Jafakan is an adjective. It describes someone who's never actually left Zimbabwe, but speaks in a faux patois accent, even though they grew up in the streets of Harare.
Yeah, man, me hear you now say.
Hear me now. Right. So that being said, Dan, I've attended a couple of dancehall shows, and I've noticed that these guys actually have a lot of pull.
Long time me watch dancehall show.
Yeah, Shinso, killing it right now. Killer, doing as his name says, killing it in these streets right now.
He them kill the dancehall shows.
Dadza D, killing it. And I've noticed these guys actually have quite a strong following of groupies, so I'm trying to follow that up. Maybe build up a little team of my own.
Do anything to get money.
Yes, the fillets. It's a name I'm shopping around. So, ladies, let me know. That being said, I'm about to kick off my dancehall career. Okay, and I've taken the name Pizza P. Hear me now. Because the key to successful dancehall career, Dan, take notes. Deepen your voice. Get the faux patois accent.
Long time me be trying to get dancehall career.
You know what I mean? And get yourself a catchy name, you know? Or a catchy, how can we say?
Ad-lib.
A signature ad-lib, exactly. You've got the po.
Got the hear me now.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm working with. So I'm taking suggestions from our listeners. If you want to be a fillet, it works, dog. Don't look at me. It works. People will enjoy this. I'm telling you right now. This is gonna catch on.
Y'all should get T-shirts, like get badges made.
When I go gold in these streets, bro, of my catchy new single, which is yet to be recorded, don't come asking me for money.
Alright, so you need a catchy phrase? I got one for you. I'm doing an ascent. Beginning of every song.
No. Funny enough, I actually heard that Tiriku Fidza is a term of struggle in short. Which subscribes nicely to my name. So I think I'm just gonna be like Tiriku Fidza na Fidza.
Alright, we're gonna take some more suggestions, I think.
Shut up.
Can we go back to hip hop?
No. Okay, sure.
Check it out, this is Metaphysics. Welcome back. You're listening to Two Broke Twimbos. My name is Danny. This is the show that manages to harness its lack of financial muscle and absolutely no influence whatsoever to make things happen. And we made something happen right now. We've got Metaphysics in the studio, and he's been talking to us for just a bit. Phil ain't around at the moment. He couldn't get the bus fare. You know how it is with Two Broke Twimbos. But for now, we do have an opportunity to speak to the legendary, the one and only Metaphysics. How you doing, man?
Yo, I'm good, man. Explain Two Broke Twimbos, man. What's that about?
Two Broke Twimbos is two people who realize they have some level of influence on Twitter, but not in real life. And they figured, yo, let's take this opportunity to speak to people, to put out some content out there for people to understand what's happening in Zimbabwe, especially when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to music. So we thought we'd talk to you, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm a broke dude as well, so I fit. Might have to change the name to Three Broke Twimbos.
Appreciate that, man. Now, if you don't know Metaphysics, I don't know what rock you've been living under. Metaphysics is one of the pioneers of Zimbabwean hip hop. He was born right here in Harare, in Mbare, I believe.
Yes, sir.
What year was that?
19 Gochanembe. Way back when, yo.
Way back when. This is an old dude.
Yes, sir.
To a German father and a Zimbabwean mother.
This guy is reading all this information off Wikipedia right
Yo,
now.
I got trying to make it sound from Wikipedia.
Trying to make it sound like he knows what's going on. He's got these little what is that? iPhone, Samsung open. He's updating himself right now. Metaphysics, born in Harare in Mbare, 1973. Born in the ghettos of Harare, 1973. I had a vision coming down like it was heavenly. I had no fear because I knew what she was telling me. Blessed are those who were touched by the energy. But as I grew and evil forces tried to penetrate. Metaphysics, John Infinite, my higher state. Taught me to levitate, taught me to meditate. Now all the works that I create must educate. Cause we are living in a critical time, the murder rate. And all the evil around the world seems to escalate. I see them emulate. Oh, what a wicked state. Sitting on a time bomb that's about to detonate.
My man.
You weren't going to find that on
That's
on
what I was
Wiki.
just say. That's not on Wikipedia.
That's not on Wiki. But you can update it. After this, you can update my Wiki page.
We'll do. In fact, you know, on Wikipedia is going to be looking at Two Broke Twimbos for information.
Three Broke Twimbos. Get your facts right.
All right, man. Let's go right to the beginning, right? Let's talk about your first entry into the entertainment industry?
Oh man, girls. How do you get the girls? You know what I mean, just trying to boredom. Man, that's a hard question. I don't know. Boredom. I was bored, and I didn't want a day job.
Okay.
Tough question.
This wasn't from Wikipedia.
No.
This was from like the depths of the internet. You started on Radio 1.
I did. I had my own radio show called Young Zimbabwe. I was still in high school at the time at Prince Edward High School. And we were doing...
PE!
Are you a PE boy?
I am a PE boy.
Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, I had a little thing going on, going to studios, and one of the teachers found out that's what we were doing during the holidays. And they hooked me up a little gig at Radio 1. But I quickly got dropped because... it was just chicks calling in, man. Really, no joke. It was just honeys phoning in, like, oh, we have to speak to that guy again. Hello. It was supposed to be like an educational show. Like, we were supposed to have deep, discussions and, trying to educate the youth about, youth-based topics. But it was always, hi, can I speak to the guy? So, didn't last long. But, yeah, I was on radio. Radio's too cold, man. It's too much air conditioning. So I moved on to television right after that.
All right. What kind of television? What were you doing?
I hosted my own TV show in South Africa, Primetime, Shell Road to Fame, for like 3 or 4 years. Then I started like a production company in South Africa doing music videos for a lot of the artists. I was still like 19 years old, 20 years old at the time. So... got into the industry mad quick, got really involved with what was happening in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, and just used the motivation and the vehicle of hip-hop to just, integrate and keep everything funky, fresh, and at the time, lively. I mean, I don't even think lively was like the description. I just threw that one in because brain freeze.
All right. Let's talk about how you actually emerged. You know what I mean? How you actually became relevant as a hip hop artist. I believe that was with Piece of Ebony.
No, it was actually with a group called Lethal Language.
There we go.
2 PE boys, another guy doing good things, Terry Mahati, who now designs T-shirts under the brand and the moniker Kunta Kinte, and he's got a new one called Harare Hustler. Nice. He basically took me under his wing. I was still at Hallingbury Primary School at the time. And we used to swap hip-hop tapes, and he introduced me on, to the art of actually how to write rhymes, how to record rhymes, took me into studio. And we started a group called Lethal Language, which was the first official Zimbabwean rap group to have an international deal. We were signed to Hollywood Basic, which was a label under Disney in the United States. Other artists on the label included Tribe Called Quest, Organized Confusion, a couple of heads. But just before we made it out to the United States, the label executive, Dave Funkenklein, died of cancer, so we were stuck in Zimbabwe. And through that experience, through the whole networking, through the whole going to studio at like a really, primary age, I was still in primary school, that just carried on into high school. And, I soon got bored of doing nothing again and just created Piece of Ebony out of the background of Lethal Language. And that got another deal with a South African record label, Teal True Tone, I think, which was under Gallo at the time. And right after school, right after hosting on Radio 1, we were out to South Africa. Piece of Ebony had a deal in South Africa. We were working with groups like Prophets of the City. We basically established the Johannesburg freestyle scene. The first time artists like Toomey, he told me this himself, saw like a cat freestyle and things like that was actually Zim Cats, and I was part of that contingency, you know what I mean? So from an early age, man, but just, I think I also came from a very hip-hopified, can you say that? Hip-hopified.
Listen, man,
hip to the groove.
With what you've done, you can make words up if you want to.
The hood was lively. We had break dances, b-boys, stuff like that. So I grew up in a hip-hop community.
Nice. Lethal Language, you said?
Lethal Language.
Awesome. Featured in the Source magazine?
Exactly.
This man is modest. He doesn't want to. Come on, man. Bring out these.
Yeah, issue number 3, I think. Issue number 3 of the Source magazine. We were played by Tim Westwood in the UK on the Tim Westwood show. Tim was just starting out. Unsigned Hype, Hip Hop Connection, I think it was called. There was another magazine coming out of the UK. They gave us like a full-page article. So we were doing good. We were representing Zimbabwe on the international platform way back before. You know, it wasn't. We didn't even make the effort to do that. We just kind of fitted in because I think we were genuine to what we were doing. So.
All right, let's go back to Piece of Ebony. Let me know who was in that group.
Chiwoniso Maraire, the late, rest in peace. Tony
Condolences
Chihota, thank you. Tony Chihota, a.k.a. The Chief. Myself, at the time I was called Prince Quila, spell it with the Q. And unofficially, Legwan Shaki, the guy who sang I'd Rather Be a Gangster. He was always part of the group, but never really made it onto covers or onto any of the tracks. But he was kind of our mascot. So those were that was the cornerstone. And of course, our key producer, Keith Farquharson.
All right, cool. How well did you guys do?
We did. I mean, that established us. That kind of took us places. That was like a door opener. It introduced me to the industry very early. 19 years old, first record deal, major label, record sales left, right, and center, and you don't have a cent in your pocket. Something wrong with the picture. So from early, I kind of learned, record company rule 4080. I'm testing you right now. Record companies are shady.
Shady.
It's a
I was
tribe.
gonna say that.
Yeah, of course you were. It's a Tribe Called Quest. Anyway, so learned that, and that the fact that line was very relevant to my reality, and that just kind of created then the spirit of independence. And soon after that record deal went independent, started, like I said, my own production company, music videos, started doing my own production, started a new crew because I think by that time, Chiwoniso had met Andy Brown, and they were kind of like dipping into my talent. We were chosen by a French radio station, RFI, to represent Zimbabwe. We won a French prize. We were flown off to Madagascar, and soon afterwards a couple of French labels were knocking at our door. And at the time, I think guys like Andy Brown really wanted that opportunity, so they kind of sabotaged Piece of Ebony, started stealing talent from my little section that I had created. Chiwoniso and Andy fell in love. Legwan Shaki joined Andy Brown's band. So my Piece of Ebony started, getting bullied and started falling apart. And I also kind of got tired of what Piece of Ebony was representing. It was an acronym for a positive existence allowing the cultural expression of ebony. That's, what we kind of based it on, a Piece of Ebony. But at the same time, it was developing into an exhibition band. Look at the African rappers in their African attire. And by that time, the early 90s or whatever it was, I was getting into more of the underground hip hop. I was tired of, the native tongue look with the dashikis and everything. I wanted to start, just representing hip hop lyrically. So it was hoodies, backpacks for me, and just a whole different sound that I think at the time you probably wouldn't have heard on radio. And it was, I started concentrating more on just the lyrical and just the hard, grimy beats. And luckily for me, I found a partner who was into the same kind of vibe, a guy by the name of Tendai Vicky, a.k.a. Akibulan. And we formed a group then called Cataclysm, which to date is probably one of my most favorite hip-hop projects that I've ever created, just because we had the freedom, we understood the industry by then, and it was all hands-on stuff, and we were doing it the way we wanted to do it, and that's kind of how I operate till now.
Awesome. This was while you were in Madagascar, correct?
No, we came back. Madagascar was I think we were out there for maybe a week and a half.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
It was awesome. We won this prize. We won more money than we knew what to do with at the time. We had all these opportunities coming in from France. We celebrated by walking naked through one of the hotels, singing the anthem to Dallas.
That's real hip hop right there. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm saying. Some guys took pictures of that. I'd love to see that. But we were just doing it our own way. And then when we came back, Cataclysm was formed, and that was really underground. So we did our own videos. One of the videos had heavy rotation on Channel O. Just started doing it independently, and still doing it independent.
I do know that after you'd established yourself as a name to be reckoned with in African hip-hop, you did have an opportunity with working in studio with some of the biggest names in hip-hop. Slum Village, Inspector
Slumville,
Dick
yes,
of
indeed.
Wu-Tang,
Yes.
Buju Banton,
Yes.
Mr. Vegas.
Yes.
Tell us about those experiences.
Pretty cool. I mean, just connecting with, people that you idolized, and just finding out finding their weak points in order to achieve whatever your motive is always like a grand challenge, just to find a way to access these people that normally you shouldn't, especially coming from Africa. You shouldn't even have the privilege, and just knowing that you are an African and you are doing that, for me, has always been the motivation. And then just to see these guys like Buju Banton, for example. Buju recorded his song at my crib, and a nice little incident with Buju is me and my boy Legwan, the unofficial Piece of Ebony member. We thinking, we shouldn't drink our black labels in front of the elder, Rasta elder. He's not gonna take that. So we keep sneaking off to the kitchen to go, catch a couple of swigs. Eventually he follows us into the kitchen and like, brethren, where mine? Where's my beer, brethren? Oh man, we didn't even offer Buju Banton a beer, and there he was. All he wanted was to join in, and just to see Buju at my house in my kitchen having a beer, just on a one-on-one. And after we were done with the recording, he's like, what's your mom's number? When I go to Zimbabwe, I want to keep up, and just build these personal relationships. I was very, very sad for him when he went to jail, because I have a personal relationship with Buju Banton. I kind of, shared space and time with him. The same with Mr. Vegas, to see him come over to my house and all he wanted to do was push-ups and exercise. And he was into his whole fitness thing. So he comes to the crib, and first thing he does is get on this piece of training equipment that I have that I've never used. And he kind of motivated me to want to start using my fitness equipment as well. And then after he did his workout, he got really hungry, and all he wanted was chicken. Brethren, where can we get some chicken, man? Some chicken. Slum Village, after their concert, trying to get these guys to record. I had the studio in my backpack, being a backpack hip-hopper, come prepared, trying to convince them they had to go in the morning. All they wanted to do was go and sleep. I snuck into their hotel, snuck into their rooms, paid them off, kept those guys awake. We recorded in the hotel, set up, did the verses. So for me, each little situation, working with Busta Rhymes on stage, Wyclef, working with the guys from Maybach Music, going to Miami, just all these things. It's not like opportunity came to me. It's like just making the opportunity, making it happen. And like I said, finding the weak points in the system, the loopholes. And just like KRS once said, visualizing wealth and putting yourself in the picture. I think I visualized hip-hop more and put myself in the picture. Now I'm trying to visualize the wealth. But it could be too late. But I've lived the hip-hop dream.
It's never too late, man.
Yeah, it's never too late. Finding alternatives now, the music industry's shifted. So, you see, the thing is with me is, even though I am into my hardcore hip hop, the real rhyme sayers type hip hop, I come from a background of a watered down version of hip hop, the whole Piece of Ebony musical side. And that's allowed me to survive. So no matter what piece of music somebody throws to me, I can turn something, I can turn that into something. I just recently did, while here in Zimbabwe, just yesterday, a movie soundtrack for a German film. And the guy sent me like a really crappy beat. You know what I mean? Coming from Zimbabwe, we've had to deal with many of those. So it was actually a dope beat in the end. So, just finding those opportunities and not being too picky and being humble about it. You know what I mean? I hope he never hears this podcast, because that will kind of kill the whole humble aspect of it. But just being able to be flexible. And I think I'm lucky in that sense, because that's how I've managed to survive. It's not from the hardcore, grimy hip hop. That I've never been paid off that stuff. It's from all the other stuff that you do on the side, just by allowing yourself to be flexible.
Dope. Okay, while we're talking about hardcore, grimy hip hop, the one that I'm most excited about is you worked with a guy from Wu-Tang, man. Inspector Deck. Tell me about that.
Dope. Really, really nice, because we took him some of the illest high grade, and this guy smoked, and he was like, yo, I'm Kevin Spacey right now. I'm Kevin Spacey. I was like, what's that? I'm spaced out, man. I'm spaced out. And then his lips turned white like a Zimbabwean street kid. Dude was hungry, had serious munchies, but work ethic was on point, because he dropped his verse, and I was happy with it. You know what I mean? Just the fact that I got the Wu-Tang logo, I can affiliate myself with Wu-Tang Clan. I was like, dope. He's like, I'm not happy with it. I have to be happy with the verses first. And just the fact that he was high, he was tired, he had just rocked the show, but he was still meticulous about his verses, and he put in effort, even though we had stressed him to get that verse. I learned a lot about work ethics from guys like that. You know what I mean? They know how to treat their work as business. There's a very serious side to the game, and you learn that from cats like Inspector Deck. I've performed with Capadonna. I've got a song with ODB. I've got a track where I have a full mixtape with the whole Wu-Tang Clan, actually.
Dude,
I'm saying, yeah, we didn't get clearance rights. A German lawyer actually blocked us from releasing it. So I'm sitting with this stuff at home. I got I think 12 tracks with the Wu-Tang Clan, just archived.
Hyperventilating out here, though.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Like, certain things are just, certain jewels or certain treasures. It gets to a point where, because I've lived this, and it gets to a point where you forget who you've worked with, and then it gets to a point where you can't even mention it because you just feel like you're bragging, or So there's a lot of things that you tend to forget that you've done, but looking back, you're like, oh, word, I did do that, And I'm telling you this story now, I'm like, yeah, I do actually have 12 songs with the Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I mean? But it's there, it's safe. One day when it needs to come out, it's cool. I got a serious endorsement from Wu-Wear. They keep me jiggified. I just recently got a nice package from Wu-Wear Europe. So they got my back, and if I ever need to build with them, if I ever need to, call in a favor with like the Rizzo or anything like that, those are my people. The same with like the Maybach Music crew or certain heads that I've met along the way. So those are just blessings, man.
That's dope. You did mention that you had performed with a couple of people live.
Yeah. Tribe Called Quest, Wyclef, Sean,
Busta.
Peanut Butter Wolf, Busta Rhymes. We stressed Busta out. He was laughing his head off because we Zimbabweans at the end of the day, we just, don't give us alcohol. Don't give us alcohol. We stressed Busta out. But he loved it. I performed with Buckshot Shorty, Smith & Wesson. Buckshot was really dope. He watched my show. Freddie Fox, The Guru, Premier, Mos Def.
Okay, now it does sound like you're bragging.
Yeah, it does, right?
All right, what did you learn? I mean, in terms of live shows, how important would you say
Breath
live
control
shows
is the most important thing.
Yep.
I saw 10 Diamond at doing his thing at the Big Brother Awards, and he came up so excited and with so much energy that by the time he was at his third verse, he was huffing and puffing, and that just reminded me of in the early days, that we used to do like 1 or 2 songs out in Zimbabwe, performing, and because there was no crowd. When I went abroad and I saw like MCs doing 1.5 hours non-stop, and I'm talking like verbal gymnastics, that kind of really was an eye-opener, and the fact that there is a discipline to this, and it is an exercise. And by the time you work with Jamaicans who can just go on and on and on. Oh yeah, Bounty Killer, another dude that I worked with. That's when you realize that breath control for your live performances is key, especially in hip hop, because you got so many syllables, so many words, so many, so much to express in your verses. You just got to watch your breath. That's probably lesson number one.
Dope.
From that, and then other lessons: watch your business, keep your money close to you, be professional, be timely. And just have fun, man. That's the one thing about all these dudes. They just love what they do. You know what I mean? So keep it real. Dude, this studio has ass, bruh. This is just this studio here. We surrounded by booty, man.
Dog.
This is serious. I'm swiveling on the chair right now. Everywhere I look, I'm just seeing. This is not even apple bottoms anymore.
Did you mention focus in like one of your...
My genre. What did I say in the beginning of this interview? Girls, 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 girls. So, yeah. See?
All right, we're going to have to take a break, clearly, because, he's right. It's like everywhere. We'll be right back. This is Two Broke Twimbos. Right. I keep saying Two Broke Twimbos, and Metaphysics is like, nah, make that 3. And I'm like, come on, dude. With
all
what
right,
you've done.
two broke Twimbos and one really broke nigga. You can call it that.
We've been talking about what you've managed to do up to this point. Let's talk about what you're involved in now, your current projects, what you're working on at the moment.
Right now, I'm working on early retirement.
Yeah.
My younger brother's kind of taken over. He's carrying the torch now. I have a younger brother by the name of Carl Pritt. So Pritt is doing it. Pritt is taking over from, what we established by trial and error. He's now perfecting in industry terms. Just signed to Sony Records, and right now I'm thinking of assisting him. I kind of managed his early career, and then he has taken over. He's doing basically his own management at this point, but now he's getting more and more bookings, so I'm looking at going on tour with him on the road and just playing Big Brother. I got Gandanga Music, Gandanga Films. I travel very often to Miami. I'm doing videos for the guys from Maybach Music, one artist in particular, Scotty Boy. I kind of educated one of their key film dudes, a guy by the name of Andre Films, and he's now killing it. He's one of the top video directors. My ex-girl, she's a Miami-based model by the name of Matisha. We had a relationship 12 years, something like that. She's one of the main video vixens out there right now. She's done videos with 50 Cent and Keith Sweat, Fat Joe. She keeps me linked. She got the hookups because she's hot. We got projects going on with her. I just did a record with a US-based model video vixen by the name of Jalissa Lynn. I'm doing a project with some guys out of Oslo called Mighty. There's a producer by the name of Mighty. I've started an organization, or I'm working with an organization right now called Skate Aid, building skate parks around the world. I'm trying to integrate into skate culture because there's fundamentals of hip-hop that I had overseen and overpassed in skate culture. And looking back at like the history of skate culture, I see so many similarities and such a resemblance to hip hop. And what I like about skate culture right now is that it's still thriving in the fact that it's non-downloadable. It's hardware. So I'm trying to tap into skate culture. I used to skate, but I'm too old to skate. But right now, I'm in Zimbabwe trying to get a skate park built through an organization called Skate Aid. And then I'm going to just, do the retirement thing, man, and open up a little shop, a little kiosk, a little studio, a little TV station, I don't know, man.
Make it happen, man. Make it happen. Tell me about Mantra.
Mantra was just a getaway project. Being Metaphysics confines you to having to have lyrics that are always metaphysical, I suppose. Mantra was just really a getaway meditation thing, because I started going through certain meditations, and the whole mantra, it's actually money-making mantra. That's what it is. My whole mantra was about making money, but I just never told people that it's a money-making mantra.
It's all right, your secret's safe. Yeah.
So
No one listens to this
yeah,
podcast.
cool.
Anyway.
I thought as much. Yeah, if you are listening, it's money-making mantra. And with that, I was just letting loose. I have other characters. I have Baba Ningi, who's like this very X-rated Zimbabwean rapper. He talks a lot of crap in Shona. A lot of people don't realize that I am Baba Ningi. I have another little alias, the Brown Hornets. It's the Brown Hornets. People are wondering who they are. That's me. If you ever heard the Brown Hornets, the Going Overseas track went viral. That's me. There's Alien Tech, which is my production side, where I just mess around with different technologies. I went through a whole period of just making beats on my phone, and then I went through a period of just making beats on my iPad. Just looking for alternative ways to make music digitally and using different alien technologies. So Alien Tech is like my production side. Then obviously the Gandanga. So I have a whole bunch of aliases that I kind of pull out of the woodworks whenever I get bored of concentrating on focusing on one particular aspect or one facet of my talents. Then I just pull out one of the other ones. And some of them are totally extreme. I have Crack Baby, who's totally just, you're obnoxious. But I need to vent sometimes. So I have, all of them probably have albums, but I realized just putting stuff out, I realized that I had to slow down. I put way too much content out, and that can confuse your audience. They lose perception of your timeline, and they don't know what's current anymore or what's the old stuff. So I've actually had to just kind of discipline myself with content that I pull out. So now I try and do things theme-based. I try and do like a month of Wu-Tang, or then a month of just focusing on like the Skate 8, or a month of this or that, just so that whoever's following or participating with Metaphysics has time to digest what the formula behind that is. Because honestly, sometimes it's 3 or 4 songs a night, and then 2 or 3 videos, and then off to features or whatever, and just bringing that out. Like right now, I have 3 or 4 features that are current, and the guys want me to post them, but I just can't put them because it's going to mess my theme, for the month, and confuse my general audience. So Mantra was one of those, and I kind of liked it because it's a money-making mantra. So that was really just about formulating business modules that can function as income-generating projects.
All right, cool. You have been mentioning and alluding to the whole time we've been talking, your video production side.
Right.
I believe you were a cameraman for TRL once?
Yes, TRL New York. Yeah, you did your research.
I did.
You know Nadwa. This is like the Zim Nadwa. You know that dude? He's from Canada. You just need the outfit, and then you have to do the thing at the end and confuse me. Then I'll kind of just be confused. Anyway, video is my first love. Video and film is actually what I studied. That is what I do. Music was always secondary. It's way too easy to make a beat. It's way too easy to write a rhyme. Can freestyle a track. Can do that in my sleep. Film has always been my passion, and I always wanted to pursue like a solid career in. Did I say Korea like North Korea? How do you pronounce that? Career.
In Zimbabwe, say Keria.
Career. Yeah. I wanted a career in filmmaking. Film and television making. That's why I know where we are right now.
Yeah.
We're here at Mighty Movies.
Mighty Movies.
I used to come here as a kid. So that's my first passion. But music kind of just drew me in. And people relate to me more as a musician. I relate to myself more as a filmmaker.
Dope. All right, cool. With all this love for video, imagine my dismay when I was searching for you on YouTube and did not find your channel.
Again, I had to take a lot of stuff down because I didn't want to confuse the audience. I realized there was way too much stuff floating around, and these days, if you don't manage your timeline, it's hard to cultivate your audience to focus on whatever you're dropping at the time. If you give them way too much, like if they go on a search, you could lose them in the search. They will find the stuff you did they're looking for the current thing. They Google you, they find you, and then this whole thing comes up of other things you've done.
Yeah.
You've lost them because now they're going to start backtracking. They lose the focus on what they initially went looking for. So I did a cleanup. If you go to my Facebook pages, you'll realize I keep them to a minimum of 3 pictures. I have no timeline. I destroy my timeline after every 4 posts, 5 posts. I don't hog my photo sections in Facebook. I do not tweet. I do not have Reverb Nation or whatever it is. I had all these things, but you confuse your audience because once they Google you and all this stuff pops up, these days we live in the age of information, and there is way too much information as compared to the time somebody has to research their favorite artist. And Google always throws you curves. You go in looking for something in particular, and you find another a point of interest. So what I've done is I have completely cleaned up. I'm trying to, actually, because there's still a lot of fan stuff floating out there. I try to keep it to a bare minimal, and then I feed the machine information that is relative, necessary to whatever the project is at the time.
Dope. Okay, cool. That's an interesting way of doing things.
It's an experiment again. I mean, that's all part of the money-making mantra. There's a business ethic that you need to develop as well. And most people think that exposure is the key. But if you look at like classic artists like Prince, you have no idea what he's doing right now. You know he's out there, but you won't find anything on Prince. There's no tabloid information, nothing. But when he drops, it's always like, whoa, Prince has just dropped. Whoa, it's a moment. And our generation, we kind of feel that it's important to be out there. And then what you end up doing is confusing your audience. Because I have a lot of artists that I go in and I'm like, Nas has 15 albums? I've only heard 3. You know what I mean? And then you start trying to listen to his 15 albums, and then you lose interest. It's just too much. And I think the concentration span is like 3 minutes at maximum to grab your listener online, because he's got that freedom to, so this whole SoundCloud and all of that stuff, yes, it's cool if you're trying to establish yourself, but if you're trying to make money from it, then you have to really be conscious of how you regulate your content.
You're making music in Germany.
Yes.
With the group Son Mannheim.
Yeah, it's hard to pronounce. It translates to Sons of Mannheim.
Okay, how do you pronounce it?
Söhne Mannheims. They stopped me from saying it. I say it like a Zimbabwean. Used to say it on stage. Yes, and they're like, please just don't say it.
All right, tell me about that. Apparently, they're really popular in Germany.
They are. We're going on now to becoming cultural icons. We are no longer considered a pop ensemble. We're no longer pop. We've now bridged into cultural icons. We've been going for 20 years. Sons of Mannheim has had 3 or 4 platinum records, sold out concerts. We play stadiums, stuff like that. We've played in front of presidents and prime ministers and councillors from Germany. And we've managed to stay relevant through that period of time. And we bridge gaps. Our general audience consists of from 6 years old to 60. So you can bring the whole family to like a Söhne Mannheim's event. The only thing that keeps us localized to the German market is the language. I'd say 95% of the content is in German. So we confine to Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. I'm the English aspect of the band. But this year, with the new album that we've just finished, we have more English tracks because we've saturated the German market, so they're trying to go international now. Yeah. So this year we try, go with a little bit more of a crossover, like you said. But I think we've also I was the youngest guy in the band, and I'm turning 40 this year. So we're not fresh fish anymore. So, I just suggest to them that, that we don't compete with the whole pop industry and try and stay relevant with the current market, but rather become iconic in the sense of like an AC/DC. Ironically, we stayed at the house of AC/DC. My brother hooked that up, Culprit. He's good friends with the son of Malcolm Young, and they invited us to their mansion in the UK, and we spent like a week in the crib of AC/DC. They sold over 74 million records. Every award that they've won or that Malcolm has, he's given to his son, and his son doesn't know what to do with them, so he puts them under the bed. And you go under the bed and you pull out any award, and it's like for sales exceeding 74 million. and there we are eating sandwiches. Ross's mom said, "Would you like some more sandwiches?" So that's some crazy. There's another world out there, man. Is it? And I was there with my hip hop cap, thinking, now how do I find the loophole in this? But Culprit had figured the loophole out already, and we went drinking with Ross one night, and he got really drunk. We thought he's, son of a rock and roll legend, so he can handle his alcohol. Shame we nearly alcohol poisoned this kid. We had to carry him back, and they have the security thing at their crib that you have to punch in digits, and he was too plastered to remember. And my brother's like, I'm like, nigga.
How do you know that?
When are we coming back? So yeah, Ross, when are you on holiday? So, nah. We've become really good friends with the family, and I'm hoping that in the future that we could try and do something with like cats from AC/DC, because I want that, man. I've done everything else possible as a Zimbabwean. I want to do the totally impossible. I just want to do like the freakishly impossible thing now, like
The AC/DC.
Yeah, just come on, why not, man? We politic with those people. We have like they hadn't cooked for anyone in years, and the mom and the dad, they went in the kitchen, and I'm talking AC/DC. They do like sold out concerts, and they made spaghetti for us, and they're like, we never have people over for dinner, and that's you know what I mean. So that kind of like puts things into perspective. Like, this is us.
We have the
This is us. We Zimbabweans. Check this out. And these guys came from Australia, and they tell you their story, and you're like, wow, that sounds like, you know what I mean? Like, that sounds like our story. So it's possible, man. It's possible to become iconic. I'm still trying to figure out if there's that level of darkness, because in certain fields of this, I've really realized that some people do some devilishly darkish to make it, and I don't know if I'm prepared, for that. Yeah, AC/DC, Hell's Bells, they have a big Hell's Bells, and you're like, do they really mean it? Is it like a sacrificial symbol, or you know what I mean? We even asked, my brother asked actually, why do you have the bell in that? And he responded, it's just a bell. Like, yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm saying, there is a darker side to this world of glamour and glitz, ass and tits, throats getting slit in this snake pit. Wonder if I could make it and survive this shit.
Back to Sons of Mannheim. The fact that you're working with them, I mean, that gives you a bit of an insight on how the music industry is run at the top level.
Yes.
In Germany. Anything you learned from that?
You know what? I've learned that it's a game of chance, because no disrespect, Sons of Mannheim, and I hope you're listening, but you're the most unorganized bunch of people I've ever met. But it's successful. So I think there is no formula to this. It's just passion and talent. Because one thing that I can't take away from our band is the fact that we have some genius musicians. When they are in their element, they captivate and hypnotize the audience. So I think, Going back to your question, no, I haven't learned anything, but I do appreciate the fact that I'm part of something like that because it bridges the norm and it goes into a realm of something magical. So there is magic out there.
Alright, you are Zimbabwean, even though you've achieved all of this internationally and you've had lunch with AC/DC or whatever.
Lived at the crib for a week.
Let's talk about your ties to Zimbabwe. You'd have come across a lot of news, just hearing blah 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 is happening in Zimbabwe, and
Right.
a lot of it might be disconcerting. But I mean, now that as you've said, you've also spent a lot of time here. You've been on the ground. How do you compare what you hear from Germany or from ACDC's
Oh,
crib or
I mean,
whatever?
you don't really hear much about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is not that
Important.
relevant in the world's scope. I think we suffer the North Korea complex. We think the whole world is watching us when they're really not. You know what I mean? Zimbabwe is off the radar.
Yeah.
When it is on the radar, it's during the political seasons. But then that's really only on mainly the Zimbabwean blog sites and stuff like that. So as a Zimbabwean, you stay in touch with that. But we're not making headlines in German newspapers or during the Diamond time. Okay, we aggravated a couple of established, I don't want to say Jesus people. I don't know. We aggravated a few people. So there was a lot of hype during that time. Guys like, what's his name? Not Rupert Murdoch. What's his name? I forget his name. They, during that time. But normally Zimbabwe is fairly quiet, man. It's a decent place.
I agree. Let's talk about diamonds.
Let's talk about them.
You have an interest in them?
I tried. I brought investors from Germany. We managed to bring like 1.5 million into the country, and then we were told, "Go away, it's chicken feed," which was a big lesson. And the fact that I tried, again, looking for loopholes.
Yeah.
In this case, looking through a loop for the hole.
All right.
Tried. Politicked with big wigs in Zimbabwe. Very intelligent, nice people, but to the point and very money conscious. So no disrespect to that. It kind of made me want to up my game as well. This country is being run by very wise old men. And only when you get the opportunity to actually go and confront them in their territory are you humbled, and you realize that firstly they're very accessible if you have reason to go and meet and discuss. They're very open to new ideas. They're very friendly, but they're also very shrewd, and they're about business. And that kind of gave me. I left with a serious sense of pride, because you could misinterpret the whole thing and think that up there, it's all shambles. But it's for what it is, it's pretty amazing actually.
Dope.
So, to those who are successful in the industry, to those who are striving to make it happen on a grassroots level, which is what we were trying to do, come in as independent distributors or polishers, startup polishing facilities. To those who are still trying to get it going on, I wish them luck with that. But I pulled out, my investors pulled out. I brought in some big wigs from Germany as well, and they kind of lost faith in us because we had promised more than we could deliver. And it's all experience, man.
All right. I noticed as well that you're being a little bit vague, which is cool.
I mean, we're talking about diamond business. You can't, it's. I think I actually have agreements of non-disclosure.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, forget about diamonds. Let's talk about a related topic: hip hop
A
in
way
Zimbabwe.
of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been here. You've seen experience. I saw. You did mention earlier that you saw 10 Diamond, for example, performing
Right.
on Big Brother. What do you think of the hip hop scene right now? In Zimbabwe?
I mean, I've been asked to sit on the Hip Hop Awards as a part of the advisory board. I just came now from a meeting with Comrade Fatso and the whole Shoko thing that he's doing, stuff like that. I'm connected with the kids in the hood. Most rappers will go through me first if they, trying to come out. Gandanga's email is always full with Zim rappers. So I get to hear all the talent. As far as Zim hip hop, it's always been I think only now are we starting to have a Zimbabwean hip hop scene. I love what the kids are doing with the local language, the local dialect. I like how hip hop is now mainstream. It's on air. It makes up a huge percentage of the local content. I think only now could we start looking at it as a potential viable industry. For the last 20 years when we started, that was just a preference of music. There was no hip-hop in Zimbabwe. There was a bunch of people who were hip-hoppers and associated themselves automatically by default with the international scene like we did. But now I think there's the opportunity to actually start creating a platform for Zimbabwean hip-hop. And yes, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of guys who can spit. There's a lot of guys who figured out the template. And for me, that's not enough, though. For me, it's about converting this into sustainable income. And that's what I'm waiting to see now. And only when that starts happening, when we start making money off this, then can we say, what do you think about the hip-hop scene? Right now, what we can say is, what do you think about the local hip-hoppers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like individuals that you can kind of figure out. They're trying. There's a great talent, good production, good producers, good rappers, good spitters, but there's no industry.
I agree with you there, industry. All right, so you don't see any loopholes in this? You don't see any way that we can make it happen?
No, yes, now, definitely. Right now, I'm going Gandanga about it. I'm going back to the ghetto. I was born in the ghetto, lived in the ghetto, and that's where I'm going fishing. I don't want to hear anybody going, yo, yo. What's up? You know what I mean? We did that. That's our template. We had to do that because what is happening now didn't exist when we were coming out. So we had to emulate. But right now I'm looking for non-emulators. I'm looking for originators, trendsetters from Zimbabwe.
All right. Looking at it now, any names come to mind?
No. Right now I'm actually going to have to cultivate my own.
Your own?
Yeah. You have to educate them because a lot of guys still feel that they need to do the whole fake thing in order to get respect.
Specific,
no, I don't even know what to call it because it's not their fault. It's hip hop's default. But I saw it in Germany, where when I first went to Germany, everybody used to rap in English, and only when they started rapping in German did kids start making money off this. Because they could access a bigger market that before wasn't interested in what they were saying. Because better stuff was coming out of the US. And it's always going to be the case. I work with rappers in the States, and I know their struggles. I work with beat makers in the States. And I'm talking like prime time, like the real deal. And I see their struggles to get their stuff out, to the point that sometimes they have to rely on a Zimbabwean for ideas or for help. And I'm thinking, okay, if they have problems bringing out, why should we try then saturate an oversaturated market or try and involve ourselves? Why don't we start creating our own market base? And that's what I'm trying to formulate right now, is a real Zimbabwean hip hop community that's just like next level. Just I need kids who can just spit locally. I mean, there's guys that I love, like G.O.D. Godombori. I don't know if you know Biko.
Okay.
But I think he's ahead of his time as far as how he uses the Shona language. And he's very traditional and very, I think he did linguistics at university. I'm looking for the Maskiri type rappers, but I think a little bit more edgy. I'm looking for people who have that hip hop spirit, but on a very local, in a local aspect.
As someone who's obviously got a lot of clout on this topic and who's been involved with hip hop for such a long time, there's someone who's probably listening and thinking, you know what? I think I could be a serious Zimbabwean rapper. I think I could spit and be accepted by the Zimbabwean market, I could be the pioneers of this type of hip hop that you're describing.
Right.
What would you tell them to do?
Do it. Don't listen to me. Just do what
Just
you
do
got to
it.
do. Yeah, do it. Make it happen. Let's see you do it. I mean, and that's the spirit of hip hop. It's don't do, like I said from early. We learned to be independent. We never waited for anybody, man. We just did it. And if it's meant to be, it'll be. There's no formula. You can't say, well, step one, go and get a good microphone.
That would be a good step, though.
If you don't know that, then maybe invent some. Maybe that crappy mic is the one that gives you that original sound. You know what I mean? And people be looking, how did he do that? Trying to find that plug-in.
effect is
Meanwhile, yeah.
All right, dope, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, interesting. I think you probably have like a real perspective of like metaphysics. I think you're probably one of the few people that really has like timelined history of metaphysics. And yeah, some cases that probably was vague, but old timers say so.
Thanks, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. That has been Metaphysics. This is Two Broke Twimbos.
It is.
Welcome back to Two Broke Twimbos. That was Metaphysics. What an interview, Dan. You actually did quite a good job.
He did. I think he did pretty well.
Nah, I was talking about you as the interviewer.
Well, the quality of an interview is based on the interviewee. So if he did a good job, then
All you had to do was talk and recall memory. I don't understand how that's difficult for people.
fine. I did a good job.
Take it back. Anyway, yeah, a lot of gems there, bruh. Metaphysics has been around. Pause.
And I'm just saying, man, we didn't quite realize how around he's been. He's been with the greats, Sean. That's just, he actually has some sort of clout in his name. So shout out to Metaphysics, man.
Yeah, I knew about the Inspector Deck song because obviously that was on the mixtape. But the other stuff with the whole of Wu-Tang, man, that's a gem. We need to find a way to steal his hard drive. We need to get that mixtape.
If there's anything Two Broke Twimbos are good at, it's stealing.
Yeah. Wait, what? Is that incriminating?
Moving on, that was Metaphysics. As per usual, we're going to keep bringing you some hot, fresh interviews. We're going to keep it moving as always. Metaphysics was, I think, one of the key interviews, one of the highlights. But we're always going to have, especially Zimbabwean celebrities on Two Broke Twimbos. So look out for next week's episode.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. If you don't know by now, you really should know all the handles. It's Two Broke Twimbos, Danny that guy, Phil Chard.
We out.
We broke.